Hey guys, it's Tim Shermack, and welcome back to another episode of the Platform Marketing Show. I'm joined today by Jill Lightfoot in Columbus, Ohio. Jill, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Tim. This is so fun.
So, Jill was on the show several years ago. When I say several, it actually may have been like 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
ago, because Jill has actually been working with platform marketing for 7 years now. We were just talking before we hit record here, and we went back and figured out, like, okay, you signed up in spring of 2018.
Yep.
And we were trying to like triangulate which specific year it was. You're like, well, I think the first mastermind I attended was in San Antonio. No, it was actually the one in Disney in 2018. And then I realized, wow, that you've been a client a long time.
Yep.
And
Yep.
your business when you first signed up was, you were doing like a couple million a year in sales volume.
Correct.
Two, I think you would hit 3 million one time. It was like 2 point something, I think, was kind of where your
Correct.
business was at. So you were making enough as a real estate agent at that point to like pay your bills, and that's about it, you
Yep.
know.
And doing no marketing.
Yeah, exactly. If you're selling two million a year, like, you're not doing a lot of marketing at that point. Um and you have enough, like I said, to pay the bills and not much else.
Right.
Um the good news is this last year, you actually sold 15 million. So I'm not even sure if you go from what, 2 to 15, that's not quadrupling, that's not sextupling. I'm not even sure what the verb is there, but you've grown a lot, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And at some point in your journey with platform, I should say at a no point in your journey with platform, have you ever really plateaued? It wasn't like, oh, I grew from 2 million to 10, but then my business got stuck at 10, or I grew, because most people hit some sort of plateau
Right.
where, hey, this is the amount of homes I can sell in a year. I feel like I'm running out of time or whatever. But you've been kind of just consistently growing every year since you signed up for platform, which is really cool.
So
Um,
cool.
I wanted to have you back on the show to kind of give like the really big picture perspective of like, okay, now that I've been around this for 7 years, which is frankly longer than most employees that are on the platform team. And we have obviously some of our management, like leadership employees, that have been working with platform longer than 7 years, but not many of them. I think probably 90% of our employees have not been here for 7 years. So you've actually been involved in platform longer than most of the team at this point. What has made you stick around for 7 years and counting?
I guess I would say the number one reason is exactly what you just said was my growth, for sure. Gosh, so many reasons. I've worked with Emily the entire time. And what has been
As your
amazing
account manager?
as my account manager, yes, sorry
Yep.
about that. And what's been amazing about that is she and I know each other so well now that she can spit out, these ads for me now almost like on autopilot. So that's super amazing.
Yeah, like she just kind of knows what you're thinking, you mean? Or if you send her, like, I'm just trying to put this in as like practical of language as possible for
Yeah,
those listening who maybe aren't working with
yeah,
platforms. So what you're saying is that, hey, if you send Emily a random video clip or a photo of something you were up to, a photo of a restaurant you went to, that you feel a pretty good trust level with Emily that, hey, she can come up with some good ad copy for this, or find a way to write this as an ad when I just send her random content.
yes, exactly. So that's exactly what I do. I'll send her a picture and I'll say, maybe it's a picture from my phone with my family. It could be real estate related. And I'll start it with, here's the gist of what I'm thinking, but I can't write it all together and
Yeah.
put
Yep.
it all in there. And
And you just, yeah, like you trust that she can find the ad that's hidden in that story somewhere, and also write it in such a way that it feels like your voice, so that if someone sees
yes,
that ad pop up in their newsfeed, that actually, hey, this act, like, they would just assume that Jill herself wrote it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. She writes it better than I would even say, I guess, that I could even write it. She definitely finds finds the ad, like you said. So that's kind of amazing that she and I are on autopilot. We speak twice a month, but we really don't need to, just for that. So that I would say that's maybe the second reason why, it's just sort of platform is just my marketing on autopilot in general. So I like that's
Yeah.
takes the guesswork out of it so I can concentrate on, I wouldn't say more important things because I think the marketing is very important. It
Yeah.
just gives me leverage with my time.
Right. It allows you to frankly spend more time with clients, sell more
Yep.
homes because you're not feeling like you have to write every ad yourself, and you have that kind of trust with Emily that, hey, I'll
Right.
just send it to her and she'll figure out something that, and she'll make it sound like me.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I guess I would say another reason that, and this is a huge reason, it was just sort of a byproduct that I didn't think of, and that was just the platform. I have so many great relationships with the other members. We collaborate, we send each other ideas, we encourage each other, even on a personal level. And that has been sort of the bonus that of course, I didn't think about that when I first signed up. Well, heck, I
Yeah,
didn't even think I would ever be talking directly to you, you know, but I talk to you all the time, um, so it's the family that I can't imagine not having around. Um,
yeah,
and and I guess lastly, I would say to maybe some of this up is just like everyone else, I have a roller coaster of a ride with real estate. There's up times, there's down times, and actually just went through kind of 3 months of it being kind of down. Um, but what always comes to my mind is I've never thought about, oh, I should stop doing this. I should stop doing platform. I don't have the money. I should not do this. I think how much worse this would be if I shut off all my marketing.
sure,
So
sure.
that's just sort of, the thought never crosses my mind to stop doing it. In fact, I do more.
Yeah, it's it's always an interesting conversation when you're talking with a client, and if the economy, if like the housing market, right, is in a down year, like it's been for frankly the last like 3 years now. It's
Yeah,
been like really tough, and transaction volume is down about like 40%
right.
from where it was like before COVID. Because like obviously from a realtor's perspective, it doesn't really matter what home prices do. I think that's the biggest misconception
Mhm.
that the public has, is that, oh, home prices are whatever at all-time highs, must be a great time to be a realtor. It's like realtors don't really care about home prices as much as you care about the volume of transactions, like how many people are out there buying and selling homes. Because frankly, you would way rather have lower home prices but way higher transaction volume than what we've had the last couple of years, which
Yeah,
is obviously high home prices but very little transaction volume compared to an average year. It's a lot more difficult to be a realtor right now. So sometimes, in this down market that we're in, we'll have a client be like, "Hey, I signed up and I'm, 9 months into platform or even a year into platform, and my business hasn't really grown that much more above and beyond what I would have sort of normally expected in a normal year." And we always have to add that nuance, like, well, it's not a normal year. And
yeah,
so if your ads were getting seen by, you know, well, if someone spends, let's say, $1,000 a month on, I'm going to do this quick math, $1,000 a month on ads, and their average CPM is $20, which means that every $20 they spend, approximately 1,000 people are seeing your ads. That means that 50,000 people a month are seeing your ads. Again, average. That means that over the course of a year, over 500,000 people are seeing your ads, and a lot of them, it's not 500,000 unique people. It's often 100 or 200,000 people, or even 50,000 people are seeing your ads 10 times.
yep,
That's more what it actually looks like because of the way that we structure the retargeting. And so I always have to kind of explain that to a client. I'm like, so if your business even stayed the same, and yet there's probably 50,000 people that clicked on your ads that saw your content 10 times throughout the year, what do you think your business would have looked like if you weren't doing platform? You
Right.
know,
Right.
because the answer is kind of like self-evident in that a lot of real estate agents in the last couple of years, their business has declined by 20% or 30% or even 50%
Right.
because they wanted to save money on marketing. It just kind of begs the question, well, if saving money on marketing means your business goes down 50%, you're not you're not really saving money at all.
Right.
But then
Right.
there's agents like you on the complete other side of that spectrum that your business has grown
Hmm.
in the last couple of years. Jill, why do you think your business has grown in the last couple of years when so many else are struggling? Because you weren't always selling 15 million. I mean, what were you at a couple of years ago? Was it more like 10 or 11 or?
Yeah. Yeah. Probably right in there. Yeah.
And I think it's important to establish that baseline. Obviously, selling 10 or 11 million is already really impressive in and of itself, right? But when we talk about, hey, I hired a marketing company or I started this marketing program, whether or not it's platform, like you could insert any company into that. Um, you always want to make sure that if you're talking about, hey, this marketing helped me, that like, well, did your business actually grow enough to where you know that the marketing you're doing helped you? Because frankly, if someone grows from 10 million to 11 million, or even from 2 million to 3 million, or from 3 million to 4 million, it's like, that's kind of in the margin of error where maybe you just got a couple extra referrals that year and just blind dumb luck you sold an extra $1 million because again just a couple extra referrals came in, or maybe you got lucky and had a couple really high priced listings you sold, but your business didn't really grow in any meaningful way. And then you have some marketing companies that are trying to take credit for like, hey, you hired us and we took you from 5 to 6 million or whatever. It's like, well, that's kind of, I don't know if you could give the marketing company credit for growing from 5 to 6 million or whatever. But if over the years you've grown from 2 million to 3 million now to 15 million, and even just in the last couple of years you've
Yeah.
grown from 10, 11 million to 15 million, no one's business spontaneously grows by $5 million. Like, oh, whatever, I just had a good year, I grew by 5 million. Like that doesn't happen, right? Like
Right.
clearly something that's happening with your marketing is resonating and it's working to have that type of growth, especially in a down market. Have you ever thought about like what specifically about the marketing you're doing do you think is growing your business so much at a time when other agents are struggling, right?
Yeah. I think it's the consistency. One, I do put out quite a few ads, videos every month. And I think it's also just not salesy. That's just not my personality. A lot of it just matches who I am, and a lot of the ads that we do, I should say.
All Cleveland sports related.
Yeah. Now that would be loser. I'm not a loser, I don't think. Well, I mean, I sort of am. I'm a Browns fan. Um, but yeah, I think it's just that I'm not. We're not constantly talking about real estate. We're doing fun things. We're doing silly things. We're educating people. Um, in the
Yeah.
past, I would say in the last 6 months, I've met people in the industry, like at an event or whatever, and this literally happened to me twice, where they walked up to me and introduced themselves to me, and they said, "Oh, great to see you again," blah 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 blah, and I had never met them in person. Never once. And I literally, the second person that this happened to, again, I literally argued back. I'm like, no, I don't think we've ever met. And he was insistent. Yes, yes, we have. We have met, and we had not met. So that's what's very cool about that is how it just breaks down the barriers, breaks down the people just already trust me, which is really cool. And we really haven't met. And the fact that these were industry people, both of them, who understand marketing, they weren't just consumers, not, you know, educated on what we're doing,
Yeah. Yep.
that they legit thought we had met face to face when we had not.
Yeah, no, actually they've seen so many of your retargeting ads that they just assume or they think, "Oh yeah, I've met Jill before. I know Jill." Um and actually they've just seen so many of your ads.
Yes, yes, and I think that's where I have had acquaintances, and this is the fuzzy ROI that we talk about a lot. I've had acquaintances that were Facebook friends. Did I really know them? No, not knew their first name, who have felt comfortable enough to refer their family members, to refer, a friend or whatever. And that I think is gold.
Yeah, and
That's
that specifically is what is not happening if you're not investing in marketing. Like you're not
right.
going to have you'll probably have the inner rings of your sphere
Mhm.
that are willing to refer to you because they personally know you or
Yeah,
they've personally sold a house with you. But what marketing accomplishes, to put this in the most granular right terms possible, is that if you do marketing the right way, the platform way, and you do it consistently like you've been doing, Jill, you're not only going to get the referrals from like the true inner ring of your sphere, because you were already getting those referrals anyways, right?
yeah,
But you're going to start getting referrals from the outer rim of your sphere,
yeah,
like people that don't really know you at all. They've never
yeah,
attended an event. They've certainly never bought or sold a house with you.
right.
They barely know you themselves, other than your Facebook friends, as you said. But they actually start referring their friends and family, because if they keep seeing your retargeting ads pop up, they feel like they know you and they feel like, hey, I can risk some of my social capital actually recommending Jill, even though I've never worked with Jill myself, right?
Yeah,
It would be the realtor equivalent of if a realtor has never worked with platform themselves, but they've seen so many of our ads that they refer one of their other realtor buddies in a different town to sign up with platform, again, even if they themselves have never actually worked a platform, because our retargeting ads are convincing them so strongly that we're a trustworthy company, right? You have that same dynamic happening in your business where, yeah, I mean, I technically know this person, but not really.
yeah,
And multiply what you just said there, that scenario where you get a warm referral from someone referring their friends and family, even though they don't really know you, multiply that by the probably dozens and dozens and dozens of times that's happened over the last couple of years for you. And that's how you all of a sudden go from, 2 million to 10 million, and then from 10 million to 15 million.
yep,
Because also you don't have a big team. Like I also want to make that clear that Jill isn't selling 15 million, but it's her and four agents doing 15 million. It's like literally just Jill.
yep.
Um, and you're handling that yourself. So that's also impressive. You're in the Columbus, Ohio area. Is the Columbus area growing? Is the real estate market doing well, or is it kind of like the rest of the country where it's slowed down a lot? Like, what can you share about your local market area?
Yeah, our local, we are growing. There has been a ton of economic development with Amazon, Intel, um, car batteries, I guess, is a huge thing. Several
Obviously,
of those are coming to the area. So, yeah, we have a ton of uh, growth happening and a lot of people moving in, not a lot of people moving out. So, yeah,
move to Columbus, Ohio, the car battery capital of the world.
who knew? Who knew?
So it's growing. What is the price point done in the last couple years?
Average price point?
Yeah, in the Columbus area, like what you're typically selling.
Yeah, I would say my price point has went up quite a bit, but I would say the average for our area is 320s.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much a starter home.
And yeah, and that's part of your growth too, is that the average for your area is 320. What is your average?
I think it's like 450s.
Okay, so you are definitely capturing kind of the upper end of
Yeah.
of your market, which is
Yep.
also great. There's no
Beautiful.
better way to grow your business as a realtor than just attracting a higher price point,
Yeah,
because it's
it's
way
beautiful.
more money for less work.
Yes, quite frankly.
I know there's what, a million people, or how many people in the greater Columbus
Yep,
area?
a million.
That's also a topic of conversation I know amongst realtors, even in the platform, is like, hey, how do you navigate doing the platform strategy if you're in a somewhat larger, more densely populated area? Because you're
Yep.
probably not going to have this phenomenon happen regularly. Hey, where you're just walking down the street and someone recognizes you, because you hear those stories sometimes of the clients that are, in smaller towns where it's like, oh, everyone recognizes me now because they're seeing my ads. But if you're in a town with 1 million people, that's probably just statistically not likely to happen as much
Yeah,
because there's so many people there, right? Um,
correct.
uh, and yet your business has grown to 15 million, where before platform you were selling 2 to 3 million. So like, how do you
Mhm.
square that? Because those are two kind of like contradictory statements of like, I don't get recognized everywhere I go, I don't necessarily feel like a local celebrity, and yet my business has grown a ton. Like, how would you explain that?
Gosh, I don't really know. I think I still think that I have people recognize me. I just don't think they say anything. You know what I mean? Like I definitely wouldn't go up to someone just because I saw them on Facebook. I guess that would be me. Um,
Unless it was at a platform mastermind.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah, I don't know, and I guess it's not really important to me because I've seen the growth. I've seen the um, I I guess I've just seen the results. And
Yeah.
yeah, so to kind of back up a little bit about what you were saying, it did take me a while to get going. Um, and it just was a matter, I just needed the benefit of time because I'm in a highly saturated market. There's 8,000 realtors, I think, here. And once I would say year one, I hadn't really grown enough, but I knew I didn't give it enough time. By 18 months, I could see it starting to pick up, and it was tough. I knew I had to be mentally tough and just keep. I know this. I'm spending this money, but I know it's going to work. And then by really the end of the second year, I was on an upward trend. But yeah, it took some mental toughness to get through that. I just believed in it. I knew it. I'm extremely competitive, and I didn't want to give away all my hard work to someone else just because I gave up and quit. So
And also, one thing you're not mentioning is that when you've when you've been a client for 7 years, you have the perspective of like looking back and seeing the bigger picture.
yeah,
One thing that changed that was actually completely outside your control is platform really shifted our strategy in between 2019 and like kind of mid 2020. Is in in any year prior to 2020, platform probably I would have described as just more of a lead gen company. It's like, hey, we're just going to get you a bunch of leads, and it's your job as the realtor to follow up with the leads, call the leads, schedule appointments, and we would obviously sprinkle in some retargeting ads here and there, but it was always this huge opportunity cost in our mind of like, if we spend $100 this month, you know, on this particular retargeting ad, that $100 could have gotten Jill potentially another 50 to 100 leads. It's like, would she be happier with 50 to 100 leads or a retargeting ad that gets some engagement on social media? And for so many clients, the answer is like, well, I'd rather have an extra 50 or 100 leads. And so we really did the bare minimum amount of retargeting back in the day because like leads were just so cheap that it was like, hey, we're just going to generate as many leads as possible. And then COVID and all the lockdowns and all that happened. And we really realized like, well, this is like spring of 2020, right? There's really no point in generating leads because right now in many areas of the country, it's like illegal to go show a house.
yeah,
you know,
right,
like congratulations, you generated a lead, but it's actually against the law for you to go show that person
right,
houses or even go on a listing appointment per
yeah,
se. Many
yeah,
areas of the country, it was illegal to attend closings. Like closings had to get delayed because the
yep,
title companies and escrow companies like weren't able to legally open. So we had to all of a sudden shift our strategy in like March of 2020 of like, okay, what can we do to add value to clients that doesn't require them meeting with a buyer who wants to go see houses or meeting with a seller on a listing appointment? And we just completely pivoted really the strategy and the business model platform to, we're going to be a content marketing company that just also does lead generation on the side, but we're going to lean into this identity of like, we are a content marketing company helping you write interesting local, ads, that again, we just also generate leads on the side, but that's no longer our primary focus. So I think in that year 2020, if you were to look at the average platform client, it shifted from like, before it was like 80% of your ads budget in a given month was lead gen ads and maybe 20% was retargeting. And
Hmm.
now for most clients, it's the opposite. It's like
Hmm.
80% of your budget in a given month is retargeting, and maybe 20%. For many clients, it's more like 10% of their budget is spent on lead generation,
Yep.
because we just want to get the bare minimum number of leads to technically fill your retargeting list with enough people so that we can retarget. But once we hit that kind of critical mass of people on the retargeting list, then I want to spend all the money on retargeting. And I think that was a long-winded way of saying that I believe is a huge reason why you probably really started growing your business a lot in 2020, because platform frankly just like upgraded our strategy. That it meant all the effort you were putting in just got a way greater return, because frankly we got better at marketing, I think, in 2020 than we were in 2017, 2018, 2019. So that has massively changed too. I mean, looking back at how we used to do business versus how we do today is just so different. Like what
Yeah.
what you get as a platform client.
Yeah.
Um,
Seriously.
I mean, like now, obviously, we edit all your videos. That doesn't matter if you send us 5 videos a month or 1 video a month or 10 videos a month. Where before, yeah, we would edit all your videos too. But most clients were maybe sending us like 2 videos a year, so that didn't really mean anything.
Right.
um, you mentioned before, Jill, that you attribute your success to how consistent you are in creating content. It's that you're just doing a lot of ads, right?
Yep.
How many ads in a typical month would you say? Are you doing 8 to 10 ads a month or more than that? Or like, I mean,
Yeah, probably right around there, and sometimes more.
so really call it 8 to 12
Yeah,
ads a month, something like
that's what I
that.
would say.
So
Average, yes. Yeah.
so if the average is basically, that means every week you're putting out 2 to 3 new pieces of content that we're running as a retargeting ad. So if
Yep.
someone's on your retargeting list, they're basically seeing a dozen new posts or videos from you every single month,
Yep.
which means that again, in a year, if someone's on your retargeting list, they're seeing somewhere between 100 and 150 new ads from Jill Lightfoot on social media every year, 100 to 150 new ads. So
Yep.
it's not like we're just showing people the same ads over and over and over
Right.
again, where every year they see the same ad 200 times. Like they're actually seeing new ones every single week. I am glad that you brought that up, because a lot of our most successful clients, when I ask them how many ads they're doing, like almost invariably they're going to say 8 to 12 a month. That seems to
Yep.
be the magic number. Where could you do more than that? Maybe. But I think there would be a diminishing return if you started doing 20 ads a month, because be like, okay, like how much ads budget are you going to put behind all those 20 ads? Because like you can't just spread way more ads over the same budget. At some point, you would
Right.
have to massively upgrade how much you're spending. But 8 to 12 seems like the magic number to have
It
enough
is.
creativity where they're regularly seeing new
Yep.
posts, and they're not seeing the same things just over and over again. So
Yeah.
8 to 12 new ads every month. Um, how many of those are ads that Emily, your platform account manager, is assigning you to do versus just random photo where you're like, huh, I took this photo, I'm going to send this to Emily and see what you can do with it? Like, is there some sort of ratio in an average month of what that looks like?
I think it could be about 50%. 50% she'll send me ideas, and then maybe 50% of me just coming up with an idea. You kind of, after 6 years, your mind just sort of becomes, again, the word on autopilot. As you're going throughout your day, I'll think of something, take a random picture. I know there's an ad in here somewhere. Um,
Yeah, like the ad I saw go out this last week where you and Dan were at Leanne Stife's
yeah,
daughter's basketball game. Her
yeah,
daughter plays in the Special Olympics, and they were in
yeah,
like the gold tournament game for
exactly. Yeah,
Ohio, and it was like a picture of you guys in the stands cheering on Ashley, right? Her name.
Ashley is her name.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think you just sent it. Either you sent it to Emily or Emily grabbed it from your personal page. I don't even know. Yeah.
Sometimes she does that, but I did send it to her.
Yeah. And you're like, hey, there's probably a retargeting ad idea here, you know? And like, obviously that's not a template ad that we could do for all clients. Cause it's like,
For sure.
you know, that's a very like specific circumstance and kind
Yeah.
of event that you were at. But it's also the best type of ad
Yep.
because that would pop up in your news feed and there was no mention of real estate in it. So it wasn't like we were like, hey, and because I was cheering for the Warriors, if you want a realtor who will go to war for you, call Jill Lightfoot. You know, it's like there
Right.
wasn't any awkward tie-in to Jill being a realtor, right? It was just, hey, here's something I was doing this last weekend. I was cheering on my friend's daughter at her basketball game, and that pops up in someone's news feed. And it would never occur to them that technically what they're seeing is an ad because it has
Yep.
nothing to do with real estate.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, like those like personal moment ads, like
Yep.
they very rarely have anything to do with real estate, but
Hmm.
I think those are actually the most effective ads for that exact reason.
I agree. And it shows your heart, shows what's important to you. Um, all of that. All of that. The feel good, the all of that. I think when I meet people now who haven't met me, they just start listing off my family members' names. Oh, saw your daughter doing this. I saw your son doing this. It's just like it's another step towards uh, kind of locking them in as a client. They feel like they already know you. They're already part of your life, and you just met them.
Yeah, it like brings people who are admittedly in the outer rims of your sphere. It like
Mhm.
kind of subconsciously moves them to where they at least feel like they're in the inner ring of your sphere of influence, even though it's like, I have no idea who you are.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
because they're seeing so many of your ads, they feel like they know you. Okay, so you're doing about 8 to 12 ads a month, and that's been kind of the success recipe that's grown your business to 15 million over these years. Again, you do not have a team. So I want to make that clear that when we say Jill sells 15 million, it's Jill selling 15 million. It's not like you have a bunch of buyer's agents or a full-time TC or an assistant or anything like that. That's
I mean, I
you
do have
selling.
Dan.
You have Dan, yeah.
Yeah.
And is Dan included in that 15 million? Does Dan sell on
No,
his own or
he sells on his own. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So Dan is kind of like your unofficial but official but also unofficial business partner.
Yeah.
But that 15 million is actually your
Yes.
production. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Now that's being you've gotten to this point by doing 8 to 12 ads every month consistently for
Yep.
years now, right?
Yep.
The question then is, well, how much are you spending on ads in a given month? Because are you spending $3,000 a month on ads? Are you spending $500 a month on ads? Like, how much ad spend goes behind that average of 8 to 12 new ads a month?
I spend around 2000 a month.
Okay, so that gives the context of like, she's grown from selling just a couple million to 15
Mhm.
million and $2,000 a month on the actual ad spend, right, is what has gotten you to that point.
Correct.
Now your GCI at 15 million is, I mean, what, 400, 500,000? What would that be?
I think mid threes, I think. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, looking at splits, because well, it should be higher than threes, wouldn't it?
Maybe it is.
Well, I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, if because I usually think of like every 10 million you have for sales volume, right?
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think 2.5%.
Yeah.
So like uh every 10 million you sell, you're probably making 250,000 in GCI. Some people technically might make a little bit higher, but that's a safe average estimate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're at 15 million, then um, you should be right around 400,000 or even above. It just depends on obviously what your split or your situation is
Right.
with your
Right.
broker. The reason I bring that up is that if you're, let's say, 400,000, like you're not really worried about spending $24,000 a year on
Hmm.
ads
Hmm.
if it's grown your business from making like 50,000 a year to $400,000 a year.
Right. 100%. 100%.
That's a good ROI.
Yep. Yep.
um, Now let me ask you a more personal question. since your business has grown that much, are there things that you and your family are now able to do that you weren't able to do before, or have you upgraded your lifestyle in any way? And don't tell me about business things you bought. Tell me about like
I,
personal life things that
hmm.
now are maybe possible in the Lightfoot family that maybe weren't possible 5 years ago because your income wasn't where it is today.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely life-changing money
Yeah,
by
like
far.
I know you guys spend several $100,000 a year at Disney, but besides that, where's the money going?
You stole my thunder. That was going to be my first one. Um, just the ability, I guess, to take the trips and make the memories with your family have been amazing, I think, for us. It's what I enjoy. So, yeah, I mean, have I really upgraded my house? No. Have no. My car? No. That's not really what's important to me. What's important to me, I think, is, or I know, is making memories with my family. And we've been able to do so many amazing things with that.
What have some of those trips looked like? Like, let's get into specifics of
Oh,
like where have you guys gone and what did you do that maybe you wouldn't have been able to afford to do before, wouldn't have been able to rationalize doing. Maybe even if you technically could have afforded it, it might have been a not a wise financial decision. And now you can kind of be like,
yeah.
yeah, let's do that.
Well, at the top of that for sure is Disney. We are a huge Disney family, and Disney is not cheap. So, we went from maybe going every 3 to 4 years because it's just too much,
Yeah,
to where we try to go every year, every other year. We went twice last year. Um, Gosh, where else have we gone?
you're also one of those crazy families that goes during like the week of Christmas
We
and New
do.
Year's. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I would never be caught dead in the
I know.
parks during that time because it's
I
so
know.
insanely busy. There's so many people there.
I
And you're
know.
like, hey, let's go during the most expensive time of year when everyone's on
I know.
vacation at Disney and there's
I know.
200,000 people in Magic
Yeah.
Kingdom. And, you know,
We have to work around the school schedule still, so
yeah, yep.
that's why that happens, but I'm looking forward to not doing that. Um, yeah, and I think I'm a huge sports fan. I watch very little of everything else, so that has been super fun for me to, go to a lot of the games. I mean, it's not cheap to take your family to a baseball game or
Browns. You guys have like season tickets, right?
yeah, I never would have been able to do that. Never.
And I know that you have donated a lot of money to the Browns organization to help buy out the Deshaun Watson contract. So
I
that's where
have.
some of the
Wasn't that
money,
nice of us?
yeah, that's where some of the money has gone as well. So kudos to you for doing that. Um,
The city
pe-
should thank us.
People who are listening to this are like, wait, what?
What?
Um,
I know.
well, I always love asking that question, Jill, because when someone grows their business, like yeah, it's cool for us to report on, oh, such and such's business is up by 50% or 120% or whatever the number is. But moving it beyond like abstract percentage of growth, or whatever, and actually talking about like, how are you able to spend money or what are things you've been able to do with your family that you maybe weren't able to do before? Like, that's what makes it really rewarding for us at Platform to know that the
Yep.
marketing is actually making a difference in your
Huge.
family. I know, was it a couple years ago that you and I were at Seed to Table, and I think Jane was there and Adam was there,
Yep.
and you guys were at like Sanibel for a
Oh,
week
yeah.
or 2 week. I mean, something like that.
Yeah, we were there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, it was
Just
really awesome.
and I was like, that's why we do what we do, is so
Yep.
your family can afford to do something like that that maybe you wouldn't have been able to afford
Oh, 100%.
uh, do before. And that's frankly why it's like why you are in business in the first place, is so that your business serves your life and not the other way
Exactly.
around. Um, you mentioned uh, you mentioned the community, the Plat fam. I randomly am actually wearing my new Platform Family T-shirt today. I
Nice.
I got this literally like a year ago, and it's been in a drawer that I just hadn't opened in so long. I was like, oh, got this shirt. I should probably wear it. So
Yeah, yeah, you should.
you brought up this sense of plat fam, right, which is the
Mhm.
slang for just platform family. that once you're working with platform marketing, that's just kind of, I guess, what people call the sense of community that we have. They'll use this phrase platfam. Um, what specifically does that mean to you in terms of like how it helps your business on a given year? Because I know a lot of people who might be listening to this podcast, maybe they're not working with platform, or maybe they are, but they just signed up, so they haven't really experienced it for themselves.
Yeah.
And every organization and every group talks about the sense of community they have and whatever. It's kind of a cliche at this point, I guess, is what
Right.
I'm saying. So like,
Yeah.
what would you say to kind of put flesh and bones around this idea of like, hey, there's real community? Like, if you were to be as specific as possible, even giving examples of like things the community does or has done, or ways that it actually helps you in your business, like what would you say, to kind of more fully sketch out this idea of, hey, the platform community has really helped me in my business? Like, what does that mean to you on a specific level?
I would say, like I mentioned before, we all have our ups and downs in this business. It's just what happens. Um, I know who to call when I'm having a bad day, and they know too. And vice versa. We've
So
talked.
who do you call when you have a bad day?
Neil hears a lot from me, and Angela Musgrave.
So
Anyone
Neil
else?
Neil also has a struggling NFL team, so you probably
He
can
does.
commiserate
He
over
does.
that. By
He
the way,
does.
shout out to Neil. The Vikings just stole two of their best offensive linemen, so now the Vikings offensive line is basically the Colts offensive line. So, anyways, thank you, Neil, for that.
Oh, well, good job, Neil. Yeah, I would say that just collaborating sometimes too on, hey, I have this issue. What do you think? And it's nice that we're not all geographically in the same area too. It kind of gives, sometimes I get a fresh perspective from, Jeff Williamson is in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah,
Um, we have talked and bounced ideas off of each other. So yeah, it's an added bonus to have another family that's spread out throughout the United
the whole
States.
country. Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
I think it's really valuable too, being in a quote unquote mastermind group. Because there's obviously tons of coaching groups out there, mastermind groups that realtors can join. I mean, there's no shortage of people willing to sell
yep,
you a coaching program out there, right? Um, but it's nice being in some sort of coaching program or mastermind groups, that there's some people that you can talk to in your industry. Because for some people, this is not platform. Maybe you're listening to this and you're not a part of platform, but you're in some other coaching program or whatever that kind of like scratches that itch for you. I think anyone in any sort of professional endeavor, if you don't have industry peers that you can talk to that are as ambitious as you are,
hmm
you don't realize what you're missing out on. Because saying, oh, well, I have my brokerage or the agents in my, like, yeah, you do, but that's not really a sense of community if you define a good year as being 15 million where they define a good year as 3 million, right?
right,
Like those,
for sure.
it doesn't make them bad people or anything, or, oh, you can't hang out with them. But like, that's not really the sense of community that you need if you have certain goals in your business you're trying to get to. In the same way that if you're trying to get in better shape and you're trying to make a habit of hitting the gym 4 times a week or something, it's like, yeah, there might be a sense of community with your buddy who goes to the gym every other week 1 time, but the community that you need to get in, if you want to become the type of person who lifts weights 4 times a week, you shouldn't be
Mhm.
hanging out with someone who lifts twice a month, right? And that's, I think, the scenario that a lot of real estate agents are in, is they think they're getting community with air quotes, right, from their brokerage, because their broker always tells them, hey, we have a sense of community here, or such a, but 90% of those agents are not the people that are really going to feed your soul
Yep.
if you want to get to where
Yes.
you want to go, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's what I think makes a community like the Plat Fam so incredible, is
Exactly.
they're all as ambitious as you are. But that's also true for any other mastermind potentially or coaching program that you might join. The cool thing about platform is that you get that kind of side intangible benefit, like for free, just
Exactly.
just as a part of being a member of this marketing agency is, yeah, we're managing all your marketing for you, and you get this kind of mastermind community component kind of just baked into what we do because of
Right.
that network
Right.
across the
Exactly.
country. Um, Jill, one of my favorite pictures ever is when you and I were at the rodeo uh, several years ago, and we're standing in front of like the camper, and there's a big platform flag waving in the background. You were one of
Yeah.
the people who attended the rodeo that we did.
So fun.
Um, that a first year, I think Neil was there as well,
Yep.
because we have pictures of him like closing deals, and he's cooking breakfast in the mornings.
Yeah.
He brought his like SpaceX satellite thing
Yeah.
too out there, which was
Yeah.
funny. So he just had like blazing fast Wi-Fi
Yeah.
the entire time. Um, are there other agents in the platform that you like look up to that you want to give a shout out to? That you're like, hey, I always look for videos coming from this person's page or that person's page, or what creative ads this agent has come up with. Are there anyone that you're like, oh, I just love how they're leveraging platform or how they're using platform?
I'm inspired by everyone, really. Even if it's the newer um, agents too. I think it's
The newer people who haven't been around seven
yeah,
years. If you've been around 5 years, you're newer compared to Jill.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, gosh, I mean, to just name a specific name, I emulate a lot of them. Um, I see an ad, I save it on my phone, and it's a various mix of people. Not
Yeah,
every ad jives with Jill,
yeah,
jives with
yeah.
me. But when it does, that's when I save it. Um, yeah, I
What
I guess
Let me ask a different form of basically the same question.
yeah.
What
Okay.
two or three people, this will get some juicy gossip going because some people will be really let down by your answer here.
Oh no.
What I know this is going to be fun.
Oh no.
What two or three what two or three people when you come to the platform mastermind every year are you like most looking forward to seeing, because I'm assuming you haven't seen them in a year. Like is there two or three people like, "Oh, I just love hanging out with them and I only get to see them at the mastermind every year."
Okay. Yeah, this is rough. This is like saying who my favorite child is almost.
Well, who is your favorite child?
Both of them.
It's like ranking your top 5 friends on MySpace. Like you used to have that ranking on your MySpace
Oh,
profile back in the day.
really?
Oh yeah, I very much remember that. It was a huge sigh of relief when I switched to using Facebook back in the day from MySpace, because they didn't have that where you'd have to rank your friends.
Wow.
Anyways,
Okay, I didn't know that. Gosh. Okay, on the spot, I would say Angela,
yep.
Angela Musgrave.
What's funny is Angela's probably in that list for a lot of people.
I know she is for good reason. For good reason. I love her ads. She's so great behind the camera, relaxed. She's amazing, and that.
And for those who don't know, that's Angela Musgrave. If you want to look her up, she's a realtor in the Boise, Idaho market. Angela's also been with Platform, I believe, since 2017.
Yeah, I think it was right before me.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the only reason I know that is because I remember Angela brought her newborn um, to the Scottsdale Mastermind, and that was in like November of 2017. So that's the only reason I know she signed up in 2017. Um, I am having a brain fart right now. What is Angela's daughter's name? Wyatt is her son. What is her daughter's name?
Haley.
Haley. That's right. She brought Haley to that very first mastermind. And now it's just like crazy because I remember what Haley looked like as a literal newborn, right? And now, Haley is in like elementary school. It's like, whoa, like she's actually
I
like,
know. I
just
know.
a regular girl now. She's not like a baby anymore. And so
I
that's how
know.
long Angela's been on the platform. So, okay,
I know.
Angela Musgrave is in your top three. Who are the other one or two?
Yeah. Okay. Gosh, I feel like I'm gonna leave out so many people because I love talking to everyone. I specifically love, and I think that's why I was given the name the Plat Mom because I love to find the new people, and hang out with them and make them because it's a different feeling when you feel like you're in the inner circle, sort of, you're
Yeah,
kind
like
of,
you actually know people.
yeah, yeah, that made a huge difference for me. Um, so I seek out a lot of the new people and vice versa, and that's what I love. So who else would I say? I mean, I talk to these, a lot of, probably my top three or four, um, on a regular basis. But Diana Tharp, she's
Okay, yep. She's
she's
on like
in
the
Kansas.
panhandle of
Yep,
Florida.
yep, yep. I enjoy our time together. And my goodness, who else would I say? Um,
I'm trying to make this interview as awkward as possible for
I
you. I'm like,
know,
hey, of the
I
of the
know.
of the 300 platform clients, if we were to eliminate 99% of them and narrow it down to three, which are three of your favorite, Jill?
No, it's like impossible. It's absolutely impossible because it's just sort of a collective. It's it's everything. It's everyone. It's everything. I don't know how
Yeah, well,
to
I mean,
say.
what you just said is absolutely spot on. That um, if you feel like you know someone in the group, even just one other person, it's
Yep.
such a different experience going to the platform mastermind every year. And again, for those who are not with platform, we do a mastermind every year, and you don't have to pay. It's like as long as you're a platform client, you just show up. We don't charge any admission ticket or anything like that. Just show up. And last year we had over 250 people there, just kind of
Amazing.
networking, hanging out. Everyone's in their own market. Obviously, we work with one realtor per area, so people are willing to share everything because their competition isn't there, right? Like their market is exclusive to them.
Right.
But you might know people in the Facebook group and you've liked and commented on each other's posts before, but like until you meet people in real life and you go out to lunch with them, you grab dinner and drinks with them at night, last year maybe you go to Disney World with them when we had the event at Disney. um Having those like in person in real life relationships, there's just no substitute for that. So
No.
once you go to a mastermind, now you probably feel like 5 or 10 people or however many people you
Yep.
actually had a legit conversation with. Now you're so much more likely to go next year and actually be really looking forward to it
Yep.
because you have actual friends that you haven't seen in a long time versus just showing up to some random conference that you don't know anyone there like that.
Right.
That's a very different experience.
Yeah. Yeah. No matter who I've met or went to Disney with or ate dinner with, if they were just a couple months in, maybe even a couple weeks in, or several years in, I've always learned something. And it's just, for me, it enriches the experience even more to not be with just the people that I'm friends with. And Dan and we make a point when it's time to for lunch to split up. I mean, I eat with Dan all the time.
Yeah, there's no
So
yeah, sure. Yeah.
so he said to me, he was like, let's go sit at separate tables. And I'm like, I am 100% on that. Sitting with people, I have no idea who
Yeah.
they are.
I am sick of you, Dan. Let's absolutely do that.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um so again, looking back over the years that your business has grown the platform, you mentioned that you do 8 to 12 ads a month. The ads budget is around $2,000 a month to make sure that you're putting adequate ad spend behind all those ads. How much does listing videos factor into your success? Like, are you doing multiple listing videos a month or one a month? Like, how much do you spend, on those listing video ads? Like, looking back now at you have the benefit of multiple years kind of a perspective. Like,
Mhm.
do you think listing videos have helped you get more listings, or how does that factor into your growth over the years?
We do listing videos for sure. We've had to borrow, um, other agents' listings, but that's so like glossed over by the people that are watching them. They have no idea. They're not my direct listings. Um,
They frankly just assume if you're showing off a house,
yep,
they just assume it's Jill's listing. Yeah.
yep, yep, exactly. And that's a great opportunity. We can make them fun. We can make them serious and classy, but it's a great opportunity to really show your personality. So I love them. So I've been doing 2 or 3 a month. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending on my workload. Um, but I think they're super, super important to show, that you're out there doing real estate. You're in the daily grind of it. It's just I think that's super important. I think people need to see not only your personal side, but I think they still need to see evidence of your success
Right.
too.
Exactly. Yeah.
They need a little bit of both, and that's what
Yeah.
platform
People
does.
people want to work with an agent that they know is legit and is, a good agent. And there's just no better way of showing people that than just having listing videos constantly running with paid ads, because if your listing videos are popping up in people's news feed, that just tells them, okay, this is a successful agent. They have
Yeah.
listings, they're selling homes,
Yep.
and kind of the wink, wink, nod, nod secret here is like, even if you don't have any listings, just borrow a listing from some other agent and film video and platform will launch an ad for that. And 99.99% of people who see
Yep.
that video will never know that it's not technically your listing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're
Mm-hmm.
the one in the video, it's coming from your page, they'll just assume it's Jill
Yep.
Lightfoot's listing.
Yep.
Even if we put, of course, in the ad copy, we're, doing everything
Yep.
compliant. We're saying, hey, this listing is courtesy of Bob Smith at Remax or whatever. Like,
Exactly.
no one reads that. They just see
Nope.
Jill in the video and they just assume it's Jill's listing. So
Yep. I would have never done that before. I wouldn't even have thought about it, I guess, before platform.
what are some of your favorite ads over the years that you've done that maybe have gotten the most engagement, or just the most people telling you in real life, oh, hey, Jill, I saw such and such photo or video and I really liked that ad that you did? Like, are there a couple that stand out that you're just
Yeah.
like, hey, this ad has worked really well for me?
Yeah. I I know a lot of people say this because I watch a lot of these podcasts. I love them. Is the So God Made a Small Business Owner, I think
Oh,
is
yeah. Yep.
the and I've actually gotten business from several of those small businesses who I had didn't even know, the owners before we made that.
Awesome.
And maybe you can kind of explain better for those that aren't familiar with it, what it is.
Yeah, so it's that video. So God Made a Small Business Owner. It's one of my all-time
Hmm.
favorite of video scripts we've done at platform. But basically, it's just a tribute video to local small business owners. So we
Yeah.
wrote this script about just honoring and thanking local small business owners for everything they do for our communities. Because I mean, really, like when you think of what makes your town a great place to live, no one's gonna list like, oh, we have a great Walmart, we have a great Home Depot. Like no one lists the big national franchise chain places
Right.
like, oh, our McDonald's here kicks ass. Like no one thinks
Right.
about why their town is great because
Yeah.
they have great national franchises, right? Like
Yeah.
what gives your town character and charm is the local small businesses, whether it's retail stores, whether it's the coffee shops, restaurants. It's the local small businesses that give its place a sense of place, right? Like a sense of identity. So we wrote this script that just honors local small business owners, and then you go film video clips or photos of the local small businesses, and we splice those together with this video script. You as the agent are just the narrator of the video. You're not necessarily even in the video, but you are definitely narrating it,
Yep.
and it runs from your page. So like the video is not at all about Jill Lightfoot. It has nothing to do with Jill Lightfoot.
Nothing.
It's
Yep.
literally just like it's a tribute video honoring local small businesses in your community. But because it has nothing to do with Jill Lightfoot, people are really willing to share it
Yep.
because it doesn't feel like they're promoting Jill when they share this video. It's just a compilation tribute video to local small businesses in your
Yeah.
community. So often this video gets a lot of shares and comments, and kind of just takes on a life of its own on social media. So I have no idea how many views yours got, Jill,
I
but
can't remember either.
um, we've had a lot of clients do that video, get 50,000 video views or 60 or 70,000 video views because the whole community shares it for you. So
It's just so neutral too. It's definitely not something that's controversial.
right, yeah, like everyone supports small businesses.
Yes. Yeah. We all agree on that. So exactly that's what happens is other people share it. It's not There's no, risk behind that whatsoever. And that's what I really enjoyed about it is you're cheering on And the copy is you're commiserating somewhat with how hard it is to be a small business owner.
Yep.
We're small business owners ourselves, and I love that one. Another one that um, I really liked, which I think I want to redo. Maybe I don't know what I think it. We ran it right as COVID happened, during COVID. I'm not. I. It was around that time, and it was just here's 10 reasons to be optimistic.
Oh,
None
sure.
of
Yep.
you remember that one? Yeah,
Yep.
none of. I don't think we mentioned anything about real estate.
Yeah, it's just 10 reasons that life is amazing and modern life is incredible. Yep.
Yes, that's just so me and my heart that I don't know. I still think about that ad all the time, and that was 5 years ago. Any ad that we can show a little personality, having fun.
Yep.
I like those too, and those are memorable. I'll see people weeks after we've, maybe done a silly ad or whatever, and they'll
Yeah.
remember, oh, that was so great. You were sitting in the bathtub with rubber ducks. That's
Yep.
super funny. So yeah, that's some good ones.
I'm actually curious now, so I'm going to go into Facebook here and see how many video views the God Made a Small Business Owner got for you. Um,
I did run it twice. I just ran it like last year again.
oh, as an ad, you mean?
Yep, yep. Emily ran it again for me, and that's when I got the smoothie shop owner, and I sold him 2 condos.
Oh, okay. So it actually directly, literally led to business for you then.
Yep, he's like, I know a ton of realtors, and they're probably going to kill me, but I want to use you, and it was just sort of a, you did this for me, I'll do this for you, and he's a client for life for sure.
So it looks like the video here got over 20 shares that people actually shared it. Um, for some reason though, it's not showing me the actual video views. Normally it shows me the video views here. There must be like a glitch with Facebook, but um we'll have to maybe add that in later of how many views that actually got for you, because
Yeah.
obviously if you've run it multiple times it probably has gotten a lot of views.
Yep.
One thing we're actually having some clients do is taking that video and just saying, hey, the script worked really well, why not do it again but with entirely new businesses this time.
True.
Like just take that same video script and say, hey, we featured, because for you that video is actually, you did it 5 years ago now, right?
Yeah, and I didn't even go into any of their places because it was COVID.
Right. So you
You
could
know.
do the video again, just pick,
Yep.
because I bet in the last 5 years you've met a bunch of new cool small business owners, maybe a bunch of small businesses
Yep.
that didn't even exist in 2020 that have opened in the last 5 years. Do the video all over again with entirely new businesses, and you'll kind of have the same reaction again in the
Yep.
community, because most of those people are not going to remember that you did this video 5 years ago, right?
100%. Yes. Yeah, I
So, and
agree.
then that's also honestly even true if you're in a smaller town. I know Jill's in a bigger city, Columbus, but even if you're in a smaller town, if you did that video 2, 3, 4 years ago, a lot of people aren't going to remember. So if you do it again, but use entirely new, different businesses,
Mhm.
just gives you a chance to reach and network with even more
Mhm.
small business owners in your community. So,
Yeah. I think the last one I would say, which we recently did, was just blessing a small business, and I think we made it a photo ad, but
yep,
there's
yep,
a little boutique in our town, and Dan and I thought, well, we'll kind of knock out 2 businesses in one. So we went down the street to the local flower shop and bought some flowers from them. And then we took it down the street to the boutique owner, and gave it to her. And it was so funny because when we walked in the door, she dropped everything. She looked over at us, and all the customers turned and looked at us. And she was like, "Wait, what's going on? Am I being punked?" And we were like, "No, we just wanted to thank you for being part of this community, and we wanted to bring you flowers." And it was just it, and it was it was, I don't even know how to put it into words. It meant so much to her. And it was pretty cool that she was like, "Yeah, I already know who you are." So that was cool. So she's like, "I just thought maybe you were playing a joke on me or something." And
That'd be a really, it'd be a cruel joke walking in with flowers and be like, just kidding, and then
yeah,
leaving.
these aren't actually for you. No,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was
It's just this like deep human connection, right? Where when you actually do
100%.
things in real life and you just bless people, whether it's with flowers or lunch or whatever, and you're saying, hey, I'm dropping this off because I'm a small business owner. You're a small business owner. I know how tough it can be.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
I just wanted to do something nice for you with no strings attached, whatever. I just hope this brightens your day, and just a reminder to keep at it when there's a hard week or hard month. Just know that I'm rooting for you. Right.
That was 100% the sentiment, and it was wonderful. I had read a post from her where she was maybe just like the week before, where she was saying, "Oh, business is struggling. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to hang on." And I'm like, that's the person that I need to meet. That's the person I
Yeah.
need to go see.
That's super cool. So we call that a platform the Lighthouse Challenge, right? Because it's about being a lighthouse in your
Hmm.
community, that connects everyone else. And so even just doing something as simple as dropping off flowers at a local small business, and giving it directly to the owner again, or dropping off. We've had people drop off lunch, like they'll go buy a random pizza from another
Yeah.
local pizza place in town, then drop it off for a different small business to have lunch, and just say, hey, I just wanted to bless you with lunch today, and just know that I'm rooting for you. And I know it's hard to run a small business, so hopefully this brightens your day. Right.
Yep.
And people
Yep.
are so shocked that you're doing, like, wait, what, like, what's the catch? Wait, what?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. It really is. And I mean, it's probably something you think about, a lot of, millions of times a year, but do you actually follow through with it? And that's what's going to set yourself apart.
All right, Jill, I have one last question as we wrap it up here.
Okay.
We've talked about how, in kind of a macro level, you grew your business from, selling
Mhm.
2 to 3 million a year to like 15. Is there anything specifically that you would say you did differently when you hit, I'll call it a plateau around, you know 10, 11 million or so, because I know that was a couple years ago, and then this
Mhm.
last year you rocketed it up to 15.
Yep.
Was there anything you started doing differently that you said, hey, this got my business to 10 million or so, but this, when I started doing this is what took my business from 10 million to 15 million, where I'm at today?
I think it was just natural to, because I had already got to that point, was to just spend more money so I could get to the next get to the next point. And I mean, that's not easy. That's
Sure.
You have to have courage to, you know, to want to do that. But I mean, it was just logical in my mind. Well, this was what already got me to this point, and if I could just do more, then that would get me more. So
Okay. So for you, it feels like it was almost more of like an ad spend budget issue of like, well, if I was spending, let's say, $1,000 a month before, and that grew my business to 10 million, spending an extra thousand will probably grow it even more. Was that kind of the thinking?
that was my thinking. I had already proven that that's what would happen, So it was like I had already did the test. So I
Sure.
just, logically, that's just what made sense in my mind. And I just needed to follow through with it, swallow it, follow through with it. And that's what I did.
What percentage of your business now is like listings versus buyers, and has that changed over the years, or has it always been? Has platform influenced that at all?
Yeah, I would say so for sure. I definitely am more of a listing heavy. Still have buyers for sure. Um, Really, the biggest difference for me with platform is just, and we alluded to this earlier, or maybe we did talk about it earlier, is just my price point has um, gone way up, and that's exactly what you want.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you're probably getting a lot of the repeat buyers and move up buyers now who maybe
Yep,
bought with you several years ago, and now they are buying that 400, $500,000 house when what they first bought was a $250,000 house. Or
exactly.
cool, Jill. Any last minute thoughts that you want to share with the Platt fam or anyone listening to this? this episode?
I would say just keep going, even if it's a down market. You're not having a great month or two. That's really what's made a big difference for me is to just it. This too shall pass, and it
Yeah.
always does. It
Yep.
always does.
If you're consistent in doing the daily activities, like you said, filming 8 to 12 new
Yep.
ads every month, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when I didn't have this mentality before at all. And like I don't even think it occurred to me. But that's when I do more. Like this is where I really need to lock in and blast it out. And rather than where I feel like most people are like, oh, I should quit. I shouldn't spend the money.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
It's like, oh, the mortgage interest rates are high, or people don't want to buy or sell. Woe is me. I should probably pull back on marketing. And that's when you're like, I'm going to do even more ads, and I'm going to stay as consistent as I've ever been. And if anything, increase my ads budget, because this too shall pass. But I think it's really important that you earlier said that how consistent you are, because
yeah.
this too shall pass honestly isn't necessarily true if you're not taking action,
Yep.
right? If you're just sitting back and not marketing, not doing ads,
Hmm.
it might not pass. You might actually be in a down market for 2 years or 3 years in a row. But people who are living, living in action, like you're constantly taking photos and videos for new ads, you're marketing yourself. Like, yeah, you'll still have months or two where things are slow, but
Yep.
overall, your career is going up and to the right, right? Like
Yeah.
you might have had a year or two in there where business stayed the same or even declined by 1 million or something, but the graph, the chart and the direction of that graph is undoubtedly going up and to the right if you're going from 2 or 3 million to 15 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
And something you're doing is obviously working if you've been staying working with the same marketing company here for 7 years, because that's pretty rare in real estate that an agent works with a marketing program for that long. And hopefully we can talk in 3 years and do another podcast episode for your a 10-year anniversary with platform.
That sounds good. Sounds good. The first thing I think of when I'm having a down, you know, months or whatever, is this sucks. And how do I get out of this the quickest? And that's it. Go to work, do more ads,
You're
you
like,
know.
if the Browns can do this their entire existence, I can handle a couple slow months. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
That feels like a great place to end this podcast.
Sounds good.
Jill, thank you for your time. I know you're obviously busy. So the time that you've given us, I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I'll see you either at some point this summer if you come to the rodeo, or later this year at the Naples Mastermind. So,
Sounds great. Thanks, Tim.
all right. Thanks, Jill.